What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another video from the Mathnasium. Today we're going to be doing some more Onshape, and this is not a lesson that I normally teach. But what happens is every year when we do the chessboard project, students start designing these chess pieces, and I get this question about, maybe 6 or 7 times, and it just is a long explanation. So I figured I'll just turn it into a lesson, and you guys can learn a new tool or a couple new tools, and yeah. We're going to end up making just better drawings and more intricate designs overall. So let's jump right in with the wrap tool. So what are we going to do? Well, we have a couple little goals for you today. I'm going to make a couple new parts here. So we might do a few things and kind of show you a couple techniques for using the wrap tool. And I'm going to draw as fast as I can and kind of describe what I'm doing as well, and I hope that this is useful for you. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to, first thing, the easiest way to use the wrap tool is to wrap around a cylinder. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a cylinder, like a Pringles can type shape. Did that actually get dimensioned? Let's try that again. A Pringles can type shape that is a diameter 3. And we'll go ahead and extrude this baby up. Let's come up about, I don't know, 6 inches or something. Look at that. So we got this Pringles can. It's looking pretty nice. And we're going to go ahead and I want to take, and I want to wrap a label of around this can so we can really appreciate it. We can read it. We can 3D print it. We're going to go ahead and throw some text around here. So to do that, first thing you want to do is get the plane tool, and you either want to choose the front or the right plane. I'll just do the front plane because I'm going to come out this direction. You can come any distance you want out away from that and press OK. Now, I kind of want to show you the issue that this solves that, had kind of plagued us for a long time. So I want some text to appear on here. So what I see a lot of students do is they'll bring this plane. In fact, let me just get it a little bit closer. This doesn't actually matter, but let me get it just a little bit closer to the thing. What I see students do is they try to extrude text onto this cylinder, and that's not really the way you want to do it. So let's go ahead and I want to get a text box, and I want to try and line it up. I'm going to specifically draw it off to the side like this. So what do we want to label this? Let's just call it chips ! Let's get that space out of there. Sorry, my son just got a new Tech Deck skate park, so he's going to be featured in the video. Didn't even know it. Pretty excited. There's a couple ways you can move this chips text over. You could use the transform option. That's just fine. So we could do that. We could come along here and come on down to transform and maybe drag this. You could even, with the transform tool, you could spin it like that if you wanted to. We'll just leave it flat. But I'm going to put it specifically off just a little bit so we can't see. So we move this over. We want to get this onto our cylinder, and the issue with this is when we go, let's say we would go to finish sketch and we were to extrude, and what happens is you get kind of this other thing that goes onto the object, but they're straight out, and that's not what the label should look like. It doesn't really work. So instead what we're going to do is I'm going to get this baby nice and centered on here. So to do that, I want to try and find the center of this. I want this center point of my text right here to be kind of in the center point of the cylinder when I'm projecting it. I don't think that matters a ton, but I guess I get a chance to teach some more tools anyways. So I want to steal some of these lines from my cylinder and put them onto my sketch. We're going to use project geometry. I'm going to go ahead and steal this circle. So if you look from this angle and you highlight the circle, it creates a line. So when I highlight a circle over here, a line appears up here, so I can help to kind of center my my text. So I'm going to line up here. I'll put a point there, and then we can put why don't we go ahead and do this? Why don't we get the line tool, and I'm going to come down here and drop a little line where I want the top of my text to be, which is pretty exciting. And then we can use the coincident constraint. We can say I want this point to end up at that point, or move it onto the line. It kind of lengthened the line there, so that was a little sketchy. Let's try that one more time. I'll just leave it. I could have moved the text, but I'm being a little bit lazy right now. I don't want to do a ton more work. So coincident constraint, I want this point to be right there. It kind of moves it over. That's just fine. So we've got it on there, and we could shift it down if we wanted to. We could transform this down. I think that would be okay, but here we have my text centered. So what wrap allows us to do, which is pretty amazing here, is we can go ahead and select the wrap tool, which I believe is under the transform button, the 3D transform button. So once we're out of our sketch, it says, what would you like to wrap? And then what would you like to wrap it to? And what that does is it takes the text and it puts it on top of that surface that is curved, which is pretty awesome. Except, let me get plain one out of here. I got a couple issues here. Number one is a surface. I want to do a solid. I want to create a new solid. You can choose the thickness, so we can see this really amazing text that shows up there. And then you can also, you could type in here if you wanted a little bit thicker, 0.2 or something, and that's going to pop out just a smidge thicker. I kind of liked 0.1. I think that looked nice. But you can also carve into the shape. So you could go into it and you could select remove for the wrap, and you can carve that into that shape as well, which is pretty awesome. I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, so you can have text going in, you can have text going out. There are some other options, like trim to target will trim it to the edge of the shape, which is kind of cool. And you can decide whether you want to do add, and we can change direction back or something. So you can kind of do what you want to create the label on top of your cylinder. And wrap is pretty straightforward. That was really just a couple tools, really straightforward. So let me actually kind of show you what the trim to target does really quickly. So I'm going to go on to plane one. I'm going to create one more sketch here. And so like, let's say you had a drawing, just like a random drawing that came off like this, and you were wrapping that around your shape. This is just a random shape. Let me click that wrap tool. Once you get the hang of this, it goes pretty fast. What are we wrapping to? We're going to wrap to this, and maybe this time we'll do a removal, and we're removing. So what trim to target does is it kind of gets rid of the rest of that shape. Whoa, my mouse is being very strange. There we go. Back to Studio Part 7. There we go. Yeah, and if I had selected new, trim to target would trim the bottom portion off, and only would leave that, trim to target would only leave the section that remains on that specific location. So there are some of my chips that are located, and you could also remove. All right, let's keep going. I've said a lot already. Okay, I'm going to do a couple other ways that you can wrap. Now, the issue with wrap and Onshape is, at least that I've gathered, is it's kind of hard to do it on an object that is not a cylinder. And there's a couple videos that had some really cool methods, but I think I figured out a simple method as well. So here's a second method. So I'm going to let's do maybe like another diameter 3 circle, and then I'll create a plane up above like this, and then on this plane we'll go ahead and put a hexagon or some sort of a polygon. Let's project that point up onto there, and then from the top we're going to click here and come out. We're going to create this nice, maybe like a nice little hexagon, and that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the sketch, and I'm going to loft these two shapes together, like so, and then can hide these planes, I think. Great. So I've got my shape here. I am going to steal the right plane here for just a minute, and now I'm going to try and I'm going to try and put something around this object. Now to do this is going to seem a little counterintuitive, and I'm going to do the drawings for Studio Part 8 and Studio Part 9 are going to be slightly similar, but we'll do this, and then we'll maybe do like a sphere, and I'll use the method from the other video that I found as well. Alright, so I'm going to create this new plane, and I'm just going to do a random shape around here. So we'll create a sketch there. That. And then we are going to, on here, I'm going to put some just kind of random, weird looking design on here, hoping that doesn't run into itself. It probably will since I'm recording a video, but if I want to make it a little bit wider, we could transform and move that down a little bit, or scale it down. That transform tool is coming in handy. So we'll grab that, transform, and you can actually, I think you can even shrink it down a smidge and maybe move it over a little bit. There we go. That'll be fine. But now we have this shape that's out in front of here, and we want to wrap it around this. And when you press the wrap button and then click on what you want to wrap and the target, it won't let you click. It's not there. So we have a little workaround for that. And that workaround is to, let me bring the top plane back. I'm going to create a sketch on the top plane. And this is a little janky, but it gets the job done. I'm going to create another diameter 3 circle, and I'm going to finish sketch, and I'm going to extrude that circle up, but this time I'm going to make it, I'll go past the top, doesn't really matter. I'm going to make it a new part. So we now have this cylinder that's enclosing that loft, and it's on top of part 1, which is on the inside, the original loft that we made. And so what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to wrap this shape, and the target is going to be part 2. So target is this thing right here. We're going to do a solid, and then what we're going to do is, instead of, since we're merging with part 2, instead of coming out this way, I'm going to go inside the shape. We are going to do we're going to do an intersection. So what intersection does is it says, where does the wrap intersect with the shape that I'm already intersecting with, okay? And so what it allows us to do is I can then take this and give it thickness 0.5 or something like that, and it will connect it into my solid, and then I get this really cool shape that's connected, and then I can come through and make some edits. I could add like a fillet or something to some of these edges, round them off a little bit, or you could do an inside fillet on some of these, and then what you can do is you have these two parts now. There's another tool that I didn't really teach too much, or I didn't go over too much, but what Boolean does is it can take parts like this and it can join them together. So I'm going to click part 1 and part 2, like that, and then you're good to go. I think that's the easiest way to get something wrapped onto your circle. Now you're probably saying, Mr. Sugg, I don't like how thick that is. That looks a little bit strange. I kind of want to get rid of that. And so to solve that problem, we can go into our circle here. So this was wrapped onto that circle, and then I can change the diameter to say 2.8, and that's going to make it a little smaller, and that should make this a little less thick, which will be nice. And that still, maybe that even still looks a little bit off. Go in and click 2.5. Let's see how that looks. That looks a little bit, it looks a little weird, but it's starting to, the other shape is starting to show. But you can go back in and edit that, and I'm pretty satisfied with it. I think it looks nice. It's a pretty cool little shape that's on the outside there. Now the third method, I'll do a different shape to wrap onto. We'll make a sphere. So I'm going to really quickly draw a sphere on it. This is the method that I found in another video, but it seems a little bit harder than that intersection method there. So we'll sketch, and I'll put a circle down. Again, we'll do 3 inches. This time I'll have a line extending out vertically, and then I'll come back down this way. And we'll finish sketch and revolve this around this line. Boom. And I'm sick of drawing on blue, so we're going to come in here and I'm going to edit the appearance. I want this to be a purple circle. Boom. Look at that. Pretty sweet. Okay. And so I'm going to steal the right plane again. I'm going to do that same thing where I'm going to draw something off of the edge here. Okay. Boom. And okay, we'll say okay and hide the right plane, and then I'll create a sketch on my right plane. I'm going to show this other method. It's a little bit strange, but that's okay. And then what do we want to put on here? Let's see here. This looks like a gumball, so I'm going to write the text gum. I'll put that on here. Looks nice. Gum. Boom. Let's do all caps. Boom. Gum. Looks like a gumball. And let's go ahead and transform that. Dragging this over. There's the center line. Let's try and get that right on the middle there. Click. Looking good. And actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and drag that down a smidge. Looks better. All right, so and we've got this, and we want to get that onto the sphere, but again, wrap will not work. When we attempt to wrap this text onto the sphere, still no dice. So what we got to do here is we are going to bring that top plane back. We are going to create a sketch. Let's do another circle. We're going to make this one 3 as well, and we're going to do that same little trick where we extrude the circle. Oops. Okay, we're going to come up this way. We'll do a symmetric extrusion, and we're going to go ahead and make this a new part. And then we've got our part 2 right there. Let's wrap this onto this target, and then we're going to create a solid, and let's go ahead and make yeah, let's do a new shape. Oh, we can do add, that's fine. I think add is fine. Okay. And then now what we do is, this is kind of weird, is this is a cool little logic thing, is we can take the extrude button and we can actually get rid of the cylinder. So you click here, you select remove, the cylinder we just made is now gone. We completely get rid of it. It's not part of our solid. So we're left with these parts that are left over, but if you zoom in, you can see that they are, you can see that they are not attached. If I zoom in, they're not on the surface there. So there's this other method that we can do. Now we have all of them registered as different parts. That's okay. There's this other method we could do called Replace Face. It's this button right here. And when you click Replace Face and you come in, you can say, I want to replace, you got to click on these, this, the U, the M, and that's it. Okay, I want to replace GU or replace face with GUM. Oh no, stop doing that. And then surface to replace with is the sphere. And what that does is you can see it's going to merge those things together. I still have these 4 parts, but they are all on there. So we use a couple new tools there, and then we could, of course, Boolean all of those together and make them one complete part. So we have our gumball that says gum. I don't know why it does that. We have our gumball. We use this kind of really simple method. So let's recap what we did here and how that was different. So I made that cylinder, and then I just wrapped, but I used the intersection option. So you just wrap and you can kind of do it all in one step, which is, I think, is really convenient. And then I join them together, or you can use that replace face method. So hope you liked the video. This is the wrap tool. I think it's really useful for making our chess pieces. Hope you guys learned something, and I hope you're able to apply this on many of your designs. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.